Hi everybody, it's Mrs. Findlay here. Nice to be in touch with you again. I hope you all had a good holiday. What we're going to do for the time being is we're going to do our lessons on here. So I'll go through the lesson with you. We'll have starters like we normally would at the beginning of a lesson in class, and then we'll get on with our lesson. After that, there'll be work to do for you on Teams. So every day what I'll do is give you the solutions for the previous day's work. You can check that over and then just get back to me if there's anything at all that you weren't sure about. Okay, so we're going to get started with the starters because that's always a good idea. What we want to do is make sure you've got a chance to answer these questions. So what I suggest you do is just pause it as we're going along. I'll tell you when to pause it. You work out the answers and then you can restart it again and I'll carry on. Okay, so our first question, which of these are multiples of 5? Remember, what we're wanting to do when we're thinking about multiples is we want to think about the 5 times table. So the multiples of 5 are the numbers that are in the 5 times table. So you pause the video just now whilst you have a look at those numbers and think which ones are in the 5 times table. Okay, so let's have a look at those then. So we can spot multiples of 5 quite easily because they always end in a 0 or a 5, don't they? So the ones which are multiples of 5 are the ones that end in a 5 or a 0. So 45, 75, 102 isn't, 243 isn't, 405 is, 325 is, 68's not, 741's not, and 840 is. Okay, great stuff. So, next question, 45 times 6. So you can either do that in your head or you can write down a chimney sum. That's up to you. So if you pause it just now and you work out the answer, then come back to me. So I'm going to do it with a chimney sum. We've got 45 times 6. So just a simple multiplication here. We've got 5 times 6 is 30. So we write it down so it still looks like 30. Let me just show you if we wrote that down the wrong way. If we got the 3 and the 0 the wrong way round, it doesn't look like 30 anymore, does it? It looks like 03. So that's how we know that we've got things the right way round, is it still looks like the number that we want. So 5 6s are 30, 4 times 6 is 24, add the 3 gives you 27. Okay, so 45 times 6 is 270. All right, next one, last one on these. So 8.32 times 1,000. So remember, when we're multiplying by powers of 10, so 10, 100, 1,000 and so on, we're moving the digits in our first number. So the decimal point always stays where it is, and then the digits are going to move 1, 2, 3 places to the left. So you do that just now. Pause the video. Okay, so what we're doing here then is 8.32, and we want to multiply by 1,000. So if we multiplied by 10, the 8 would go here, the 3 would go here, and the 2 there. If we multiplied it by 100, it'd have to move 2 places. So the 8 would be there, the 3 there, the 2 there, and the point's still there. But that's only moved it 2 places. We've got 3 zeros here, so we need to move another place. So 8, 3, 2. But then if you have a look, we've got a space here, before the decimal point, and we can't leave spaces before the decimal point. So what we need to do, remember, is put in a 0 there. Okay, we don't need the decimal point. We can put it in, but it looks a bit silly to have it if there's no decimal places, so we just leave that off. So 8.32 times 1,000 is equal to 8,320. So that's our starters done for now, and we're going on to our main lesson today, which is we're adding and subtracting decimals because we're going to be looking at money. So all this week and next week as well, we're going to be looking at money in different ways. So this week, what we're looking at is how to work with decimals. We're going to be looking at adding, subtracting, multiplying and dividing. And we're going to look at estimating and rounding as well. Okay, but this is all with the idea that we're working with money. Okay, so first of all, so today we're just going to do adding and subtracting decimals. It's probably not going to be a very long lesson today. It's just a few things that we need to look out for. So when we're adding, when we're adding decimals, we need to make sure that our points are in line. So when we're going to write down 7.83, oops, silly me. Try again. Right, so when we write £7.83, we write 7.83, and the 6.35 that goes underneath it, we need to get the points in line with each other. Okay, so the 6 goes before the point, and the 3 and the 5 come after it. Always write down what kind of a calculation it is you're doing. And then 3, remember, start from the right hand side. So 3 add 5 is 8, 8 add 3 is 11. When we're adding and subtracting, we always keep our points in a line there, so that's where it goes. 7 add 6 is 13, add the 1 makes 14. So altogether, don't forget the pound sign, our answer is £14.80. Okay, the next one, £92.15, add £4.57. So again, we write that out ourselves, £92.15, add £4.57. If we put the point in first, then we know the 4 comes before the point and the 5 and the 7 afterwards. So if we notice here and in the last one, we've got, in both cases, we've got 2 decimal places and 2 decimal places. Over here, we've got 2 decimal places and 2 decimal places. So we haven't needed to put in any zeros or fill in any gaps yet. Okay, so back to working this one out. So 5 add 7 is 12. 1 add 5 is 6. Add the 1 is 7. Keep your points in a nice neat line there. 2 add 4 is 6. And then we've just got a 9 there. So again, remember the pound sign. So we've got £96.72 there. Okay, now on to this third one here. Now, the amounts that we've got here, this one's 43.29 and £347.95. Now, most of you will find it easier if you put the bigger number at the top when you're adding 2 numbers together. Okay, it just makes things a little bit easier for your brain to cope with, I think. So that's what we're going to do. Because remember, when you're adding things, it doesn't matter what order you add them in, you still get the same answer. So 347.95, add £43.29. So let's put the point in first to make sure everything goes in the right place. So we have the 3 in front of the point and the 4 in front of that, and then the 29 after the point. Okay, what we don't want to do, let me just show you this, is we don't want to just fill in our numbers from the left hand side. So for example, we don't go £43.29 because those points are now not in order. The 4 and the 3 are in the wrong columns, and the 2 and the 9 aren't even in a column. So be really careful. Fill in your decimal point first and then slot your numbers around it. It doesn't do any of us any harm to have a little bit of a reminder of this kind of thing, does it? So adding up, 5 and 9 is 14. So write down the 4, carry the 1. 9 and 2 is 11. Add the 1, makes 12. 7 and 3 is 10. Add the 1 is 11. 4 and 4 is 8. Add the 1 is 9. And 3, there's nothing there. If we wanted to, we can fill that in with a 0. Doesn't matter. And we end up with £391.24. Okay. So remember, I've put a little note here actually. When we're writing amounts of money, it makes sense to have either no decimal places or 2 decimal places. It doesn't make sense to have 1 decimal place when we're talking about money, but we'll look at that a little bit later in the week. Okay, so what we're dealing with today, our numbers here, all the ones that we've looked at so far, I've got 2 decimal places. In the next question we're going to do here, we've got one with no decimal places, and we'll when we do our multiplying and dividing, that's when we're going to have a look at one decimal place. Okay, so on with these additions. So next one, we're doing £9 add £204.27. So again, I think it's easier to put the bigger number at the top and then the 9. Right, let's have a think about where the 9 goes. Remember, we can write 9 as 9.0 or 9.00. Okay, so whichever it is, the 9 comes in front of the decimal point, doesn't it? So we remember, when we're adding and subtracting, we can fill in any gaps with zeros. The zeros that are on the right hand side, they're particularly important to fill in, and especially when we're subtracting, as we'll see in a couple of minutes. Okay, so just adding up them. 7 add 0 is 7, 2 add 0 is 2, 4 add 9 is 13, 0 add, and look, if you want to fill those in with zeros, you can do as well. 0 add 0 add 1 is 1, and 2 add 0 is 2. So our answer is £213.27. Okay, and then the last one, we'll just quickly whiz through this. Again, I'm going to put the bigger number at the top, £408.96, add 31.04. We know how to set these out now. And the more eagle-eyed among you will have spotted that 96 pence and 4 pence are going to make a whole pound there. So 6 add 4 is 10. 9 add 0 add 1 is 10. Remember and keep the decimal points there. 8 add 1 add 1, also 10. 3 add 1 is 4, and 4, put 0 in there if you like. There we go. So £440, but remember, we could also write that as just 440. We don't need the 0.00 there. We can have it, it's absolutely fine, but we don't need it. Okay, right, so on with our subtractions then. And when we're looking at our subtractions, we're going to be really careful about these zeros. So first of all though, when we're doing our subtractions, we just need to take care and set things out properly like when we're adding. So £36.58, take away £14.17, everything in the nice neat columns, all the decimal points will be lined up as well. Okay, so we're subtracting now, make sure you keep that in your head. 8 take away 7 is 1, 5 take away 1 is 4, 6 take away 4 is 2, 3 take away 1, also 2, and we'll put our pound sign in the answer. Okay, so no borrowing or anything there, that one was fine. So the next one, £24.64, take away £18.39. Again, no gaps to fill in anywhere with zeros. But when we start off, 4 take away 9, we can't do that. We're trying to take away more than we've got, so we need to go borrowing. But remember, you can only borrow from your next door neighbour. Okay, that's the rule, as we'll see used a bit more in the next couple of examples. Okay, so now we've got 14 take away 9, so that's 5. Then 5 take away 3 is 2. Keep points in a line. 4 take away 8, again, you can't do that. You're trying to take away more than you've got, so we need to borrow from the next door neighbour and add 1 on here. So 14 take away 8 is 6, and 1 take away 1 is nothing, or 0, but we don't need to put that. We can just stick our pound sign in there. Okay, now this one, 32 take away, right, £17.34. So for us to be able to line our points up, we need to have a point in 32. So remember that £32 could be written as 32.00, couldn't it? So let's do that. And now that gives us an easy way to figure out where the £17.34 goes. Okay, so now 0 take away 4. Well, we can't do that because we're trying to take away more than we've got. So we can't do 0 take away 4, so we go to the next door neighbour, but they haven't got any, so they have to say, hang on a minute, I'll go to my next door neighbour and see if they've got any. So they go here to borrow 1. So they borrow 1, and now you can borrow 1 from your next door neighbour. So they had 10, now they've got 9, and you've got 10. So 10 take away 4 is 6. 9 take away 3 is also 6. Keep your points in a line. 1 take away 7 we can't do, so we need to borrow from the next door neighbour to give us 11 take away 7 is 4, and 2 take away 1 is 1. So our answer here is £14.66. Okay, now, not sure if I'm going to be able to squeeze this one in here actually. So £120.02. Actually, what I'll do here is I'll just put this underneath because I think I'm possibly going to run out of space to write on here. So we're going to do £120.02, take away £35.76. And because of our lining up, remember that's where it needs to go. Okay, so 2 take away 6. Not happening, is it? Because 2 hasn't got enough for us to take away 6. So we go to our next door neighbour, but they haven't got any. So they say, hang on, I'll go to my next door neighbour. They haven't got any either. So they have to say, hold on, I'll go to my next door neighbour. So they go here. But remember, you can only borrow from and you can only lend to your next door neighbour. You can't go from this one to this one. Okay, so this one has to lend to this one. So we're borrowing 1 there. Now, they've got enough that we can borrow 1 for our next door neighbour, and then we've got enough there. So 12 take away 6 is 6. 9 take away 7 is 2. Don't lose sight of your decimal points in all of that. 9 take away 5 is 4. 1 take away 3, again, we can't do, so we borrow. So we've got 11 take away 3 is 8. And then there's nothing left here to take away. So our answer is £84.26. Okay, and then when we go on to our last one now, we've got, I'll just do it over here, £400.51, take away £278. Remember that would be 278.00. So remember, we're subtracting. So 1 take away 0 is 1, 5 take away 0 is 5, points in a line. Now 0 take away 8 we can't do, so we nip to our next door neighbour. They haven't got any either, so they have to borrow from their next door neighbour. So this person lends to that one. Then they can now lend 1 to us. Okay, so 10 take away 8 is 2. 9 take away 7 is 2. 3 take away 2 is 1. So our answer is £122.51. Okay, so all I want us to think about just now is what are our steps to success when we're adding and subtracting decimals when we're thinking about money. So I would say that a very important thing is to keep the decimal points in a line. You can fill in any gaps with zeros. And make sure all your borrowing or carrying carrying is done carefully. Okay, apart from that, last thing is remember your pound sign. Okay, so well done. I'll leave you the practice questions to do on Teams, and then you can do those. I'll put the answers up tomorrow so you can check them before we start tomorrow's lesson. Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow. Good luck.